ride to the beat with my hopes and my dreams like a boat in the sea. Let it ride from the west to the east. Be the best you can be. Let the rest in peace while I try.
What's goody fam? You already know who it is. It's ShakaShine, and I'm coming back at it with another reaction on ShakaShine Reacts. Today, I gotta give a big old shout out to Travis, and their request was the NBA's The Dream Team documentary. We're gonna do this in parts, so make sure you check out the playlist if you guys have missed any. Now, for the people that have been hitting that like button, hitting that subscribe button, and hitting that comment button, gotta say thank you. This is a channel of giving credit when credit's due, and y'all deserve all the credit, so I gotta say thank you. Truly appreciate every single one of y'all. With that being said, for the people that are waiting on their requests, as you can see, we're getting to every single one of y'all. If I set up it on the list, it's on the list and it's coming up. But you can always skip the line by hitting me with the donation links right underneath the like button, and I'll make sure I get your reaction out within 72 hours. Now, as far as the Dream Team goes, we've had a couple of information and reactions about that. Make sure you check out the sports reaction playlist if you have missed out on anything. And we are big Larry Bird and Magic Johnson fans around here, all thanks to y'all. So again, thank you. This should be an interesting one, so I'm not going to make y'all wait. Let's get straight into the reaction.
Why do people talk about dreams so much in sports? Dream seasons, dream matchups, dream opportunities.
Because it's the best. It's the best when it's the dream team. You know what I'm saying? Like when. That's why. It's because it's the best. Instead of saying the best, it's just the dream. You know what I mean? Let's go.
They do it because so much of sports is about imagining what you want things to be like.
Manifesting.
If only the setting were just right.
It was one of those times none of us will ever forget.
The characters just right.
I don't know anything about Angola, but Angola's in trouble.
The timing just right.
I don't know anything, but they in trouble for sure. And they were.
7 Hall of Famers. I don't think you can ever do that again at no point in time.
If only it could all be the way you might have dreamed it up yourself.
Are you filming? Yep.
Let's go.
That was the most exhilarating 15 seconds of my life.
People perceived us as being superheroes.
Please, Michael Jordan!
No Isaiah Thomas stuff.
Well, that's just because, again, I mean, y'all washed the other teams. Like, let's go.
Superheroes.
Please, Michael Jordan!
No Isaiah Thomas stuff.
No Isaiah Thomas question.
Cool.
We became a team, and that team just stomped on everybody.
This never happened in sports. Nowhere.
Well, I figured eventually there'd be a movie made about the Dream Team.
This group may well be the greatest team ever assembled in the history of team sports.
Let's go. Let's go. The Dream Team,
God
baby.
bless you, and God bless America.
All right.
20 years can go by pretty fast, and the world isn't gonna stop and wait for you to remember what it used to look like.
Facts.
1992 was a time of change. New faces in America quickly transforming into cultural icons.
Yeah.
None more so than the superstars of the NBA.
The Bulls have repeated. Let the party begin.
After the legends of the 80s had lifted the league's profile to new heights.
See, I do like that they actually mentioned that too, because like, yeah, after what pretty much Larry Bird and Magic Johnson did, then people started becoming bigger superstars in NBA at least.
A fresh crop of players had blown the lid off.
Here's Hewitt.
Robinson.
Their talents
Let's go.
and their charisma made them more than just basketball players.
I am not a role model.
They were a new kind of star athlete whose popularity transcended the game.
Okay. Facts. That's facts.
Is it the shoes?
No, Mom.
I really want to know when people realize, like, oh, I'm gonna be something, or like this song is going to be something, or whatever they're doing, you know? Because I want to know if people had no idea, or they thought they like, I'm gonna be something one day, and you know, I want to know that. Let's go.
And now the very best of them awaited their brightest showcase, the world's largest athletic stage, the Olympic Games in Barcelona, Spain.
Let's go.
Even if no one truly realized the impact they would make there.
It's a watershed moment in the history of sports, not just the Olympics, not just basketball. It moved the culture along.
But in 1992, not everyone was ready for them. Not everyone thought pro basketball stars had a place in the Olympics.
This kind of thing.
And I really want, like, to me, that's just weird because pretty much the my whole time that's been acceptable. So that's just weird. Let's go.
It had never, ever, ever been done. So there was a lot of, poking the bear, if you will, by people in my profession. Sports journalists and journalists in general were skeptical, angry, because this wasn't the Olympic movement.
The Olympic ideal had always been about amateur competition, which meant the United States had always sent basketball teams made up of college kids, teams that dominated for decades. In 1972, the Soviet Union was awarded a victory over the U.S. in a controversial gold medal game.
The United States apparently had won the game, but the debate still goes on.
To this day, that American team...
I had no idea about that either. Let me take this back and keep it pushing.
But the debate still goes
on. Let's go.
To this day, that American team still hasn't claimed their silver medals. But that result seemed like a fluke when the Americans got the gold in their next 2 Olympic appearances.
U.S. has its 9th gold medal.
Let's go.
While the U.S. celebrated, though, the rest of the world was catching up. So in 1988, when the Soviets won again, there was no talk of any fluke.
The United States goes home with a semi-final loss to the bigger, more experienced...
They don't look happy at all.
USSR team.
I was embarrassed. I know some of the guys left their medals there in the room. They didn't want to take them home. Here we are, USA on our chest, and we didn't get the job done.
Yeah.
But the amateur ideal had gotten muddled. While NBA players...
And I like how that everyone always acts like, if you're not first, you're pretty much last. Like, that's just what it is.
Prohibited from Olympic competition. Professionals from other leagues abroad could play.
If you played in Europe for money, you were an amateur, but if you played in the NBA for money, you were a professional. And so our players weren't eligible.
Those other countries were using pros, playing against 18, 19-year-old kids. That is really unfair.
That's messed up. I did not know
Changing the hypocrisy, though, was a central goal of a European named Boris Stankovic, the head of FIBA, the World Basketball Federation.
He was very much intent on lifting basketball up to the highest possible level of international sports. And if the whole world knew that the very best players in the world were not participating in the Olympics, that made it a second-class event.
I mean, it doesn't make sense. You should have the best, period, right? So yeah, I'm with them on that for sure.
So in 1989, Stankovic issued a resolution to allow pros from all leagues to compete in the Olympics. But back in America, the NBA was lukewarm to the idea.
We wanted to be good partners with FIBA to grow the sport of basketball, but we weren't particularly anxious. We didn't know what it would mean. We didn't know if our players would want to do it. We didn't know what the logistics were, but the vote passed and NBA players were eligible for the Olympics.
As they should
Now the
be.
issue wasn't about whether American pros could play,
but
whether the best players wanted to play.
Yeah.
The one guy that, that we were a little concerned about was probably Michael.
The thought back then was Michael Jordan plays 36 holes of golf 90 days during the summer. What the hell is he going to be doing playing basketball?
I was hoping they would not.
And, I mean, he kind of earned that. You know what I'm saying? He earned that to be able to relax like that. So, let's go.
They asked me to participate. And I was trying to figure out a way graciously that I could decline. I'd done the Olympic thing before, and when Rod Thorne called me and asked me, I wasn't gung-ho about it.
My appeal to him was, you're the top player in the world. This is bigger than the NBA Finals, and we need you. His thing, well, who else is playing? I mean, are all the good players going to play? I'm not going to play by myself.
So Michael Jordan waited to hear more, and Rod Thorne made his next call.
It was a no-brainer for me.
Let's go.
From day one. And I figured if I jumped in first and said,
I'm going to say this again. Hey, if you have not seen the Magic Johnson and or Larry Bird playlist, make sure you check them out. We got some goodies on there. Let's keep this pushing.
I wanted to play that would get guys to want to participate as well.
Okay.
I think if Magic wasn't on that team, I don't think it would have been as spectacular as it was. And to finish out our careers, that was important for both of us.
Yeah.
Once you get guys like Magic and Larry committing to the team, then all of a sudden it becomes something very, very special. Representing the USA is already a tremendous honor, but to know that you're going to be on a dream team is a once-in-a-lifetime experience.
Magic, Bird, and David Robinson weren't alone in their pride.
They called in the big guns. We're the Navy SEALs that we had to go over there and kick butts and take names.
With those stars and the Utah Jazz tandem of John Stockton and Karl Malone, the dream team was starting to take shape.
Being incredible.
It don't matter if you call me last. I got the call.
I didn't feel like that I deserved to be called, but I truly wasn't going to tell them that.
I was like, yeah, I'm in. I didn't even think to say who else on the team. I'm like, yeah, I'm good. Yes.
Charles Barkley's ability was never in question, but his attitude was.
God want us to win the world championship.
I don't know if I go that far, Charles.
No, I talked to him the other night.
I learned early in
that ego, but you kind of have to have that sometimes if you're really trying to make it as far as these people make it, you know what I mean? Crazy.
Philadelphia. It doesn't matter what I say. So from this day forward, I'm going to say what I want to say, and some people are going to like it, and some people are going to dislike it.
But after a series of incidents on and off the court, the least of the committee's concerns were about what Barkley would say.
I was asked to talk to him. He was so honored that we would even think about asking him. He convinced me that you won't have any problems with me.
Now, with the team nearly complete, Rod Thorne had enough talent secured to go back to where he started.
Representing my country was a big thing, but I think, the biggest motivation for me was...
Had to circle back around to Jordan, of course.
Representing my country was a big thing, but I think, the biggest motivation for me was now I get to spend time with some of the guys I compete against all the time.
Portland's Clyde Drexler rounded out the list of NBA players, while the final spot on the roster was reserved for an amateur, Duke's Christian Laettner, coming off back-to-back NCAA titles.
There's the pass to Laettner. Puts it up. Yes!
In any other Olympic year, Laettner might have been the team's biggest star, but on this team, he was fine with being the last guy on the bench.
I tell people this all the time.
It still would have been an honor to even be put a part of the full team, you know what I mean? Especially that team, let's go.
And it may shock them, but my most enjoyable year was my freshman year because they don't expect nothing from you except carry the luggage, do the laundry, and get our donuts. And that's easy. The harder thing is to be the leader.
By May of 1991, 2 months before the Olympics, the team was set.
Let's go.
1 college kid and 11 future Hall of Famers. The man charged with putting it all together was the unflappable Chuck Daly.
Okay, all set?
I'm set.
Chuck looked the part. He was the guy that looked like he owned the arena, but he would also push the broom.
Okay.
His hair was beautiful. His suits were immaculate.
Okay,
He wanted
he was on point at all times, but wasn't afraid to do the work as well.
Win, but he wanted to look good.
As the head coach of the Detroit Pistons, Daly did both, winning back-to-back championships in 1989 and 90.
The Pistons are winners and still champions of the world.
Okay.
The Pistons were nicknamed the Bad Boys for their aggressive and some said dirty style of play, never more evident than in their memorable playoff battles with Michael Jordan's Bulls.
Yeah.
Michael on the move against Vinnie Johnson in the hoop. He is necktied.
I feel like I remember that actually happening.
Michael Jordan goes down hard.
Detroit and Chicago had no love for each other.
So when Daly was named the Dream Team coach, many wondered how he'd handle working with the Bulls' biggest star.
I was being asked to wrestle with some demons and some issues.
But the coach was well acquainted with the task of managing personalities.
He coached the bad boys. And if you can coach those, you can coach anybody.
Boom. I mean, he's not wrong. Anyways, that's part one, you guys. We're going to make sure we do this in parts because if not, you guys will be sitting here for about 2 hours. So we're going to do it in parts. Make sure that you hit that subscribe button too so you don't miss out on this whole saga. And make sure you guys are hitting me with the comments underneath so we can have discussions about this because this is going to be another fun one. And again, don't forget, don't miss out on the sports playlist. We have a ton of them. They're great. Anyways, if you're making it this far, you might as well hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that comment button. Let me know who is your favorite basketball player and what else you want to see me react to. If you're already doing that and making it this far, I got to say thank you. Truly appreciate every single one of you.